Hi, this is David Dusek, Senior Writer with Golfweek Magazine. Welcome to this week's edition of Ask the Expert, the place where you get to ask me anything you like about golf equipment and what the guys are using out on the PGA Tour. So this week's letter comes to me from Chris Schultz in Burlington, Vermont, and he writes, David, I've always been a fan of Bubba Watson and really liked your detailed story on his equipment in last week's Toy Box Extra. Thank you very much. My question is, how often does he hit his driver in practice? I've heard that a lot of big hitters are scared to hit their driver too many times in practice because they don't want to risk breaking it. Thanks. Well, Chris, to get an answer for your question, I contacted Christian Pena, the PGA Tour rep from Payne Golf, and I asked him about Bubba Watson and his willingness to use his driver on the practice range, and he told me something I kind of already knew, which is that Bubba Watson doesn't spend very much time on the practice range. He uses that as a warm-up. But really, when Bubba Watson is looking to practice, he goes out and he plays the golf course. He plays holes. He plays a lot of rounds of golf. If Bubba Watson is out on the driving range and you see him hitting driver, that's because he's working on something very specific. Most of the time, now at this point, golfers are more than willing to use their driver on the practice range as much as they like. The question of durability or breaking a golf club really doesn't come into the mind of almost any players out there for a couple of very specific reasons. Number one, the durability of most drivers is really, really good. Companies fire golf balls in air using air cannons at drivers and prototypes, thousands and thousands of hits. Those things just aren't going to break. And every once in a while, if one does break, almost every player on the PGA Tour travels with a backup driver that's identical to his gamer driver. And they practice with that driver every once in a while to make sure in their own minds that that backup driver is as good as their gamer. Plus, on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at PGA Tour events, the PGA Tour vans from all the manufacturers are there, and they can fix any trouble or fix any problems that the players run into. Christian did tell me that way back in the day when guys were using Balata golf balls when they play, but maybe using harder golf balls at some practice facilities and ranges, there was a little bit of trepidation sometimes about using your driver too often, but that's way in the past. Guys are using the exact same golf ball that they play with on the golf course, on the driving range. There are bags of them everywhere, all different kinds of brands that are available for players. So really at this point, durability in the face of a driver is really not something that players worry about at all. Listen, if you've got a question you'd like to ask me, the expert, please feel free to email me at ddusek@golfweek.com, or you can feel free to send me a message anytime on Twitter at @golfweek_Dusek. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.